Well, good morning, and it is our 8th week of lockdown we've come to the end of, and I wanted to talk about friends again, because friends are very important at this time. But we've talked about friends before, but in a different way. And of course, I've got my two friends with me here. And sometimes it's very difficult to know what a friend is, or what it means to know somebody. Now, I remember I was in Tesco in Falkirk, and this woman came up to me and says, "I know you." And I says, "Well, I'm not really sure who you are, because I don't really hang about in Falkirk very much." And she says to me, "I know you, I've seen you in the crematorium." And that's certainly a bit of fame indeed. But what does it mean to know someone and to be their friends? Because we use that so widely these days. I know some people will say, "Oh, so-and-so is a friend of mine." But are they actually a friend, or is it just somebody that they know? Because there's a very big difference between the two of them. And of course, on things like Facebook, I think most people here have an idea of what Facebook will be. On Facebook, you have friends on it, but are they really your friends? Because it can mean, friends mean all sorts of things, and all sorts of people want to be your friend, even if you don't actually know them in real life. And for our younger viewers this morning, it's very important when maybe mum or dad or whoever you have at home with you tells you to be very careful about things like social media and about being friends with strangers in real life. But also in this time of lockdown, it's very, very important that you're careful who your friends are and who you're talking to online. And that goes for adults too, because sometimes adults can be duped on a telephone or by emails about people claiming to be who they're not. It can get into all sorts of messes, and people can get very upset and hurt too. So that's why online it's very important to think about who your friends are. And of course it's difficult because we can't always see our furry friends that we have here, although I don't think that dragons really are furry. Well, they don't actually exist anyway. I think they're perhaps a bit more oily in their skin than this lovely furry Welsh dragon that we have here. But the Bible tells us a lot about friends. I looked up my Bible software on the computer, and I wanted to find out about friendship, and I came up with all these verses that came through the computer system and told me about friends. And there's some very encouraging verses here. We're told 2 is better than 1 in Ecclesiastes 4 chapter 9. In 1 Thessalonians 5 we're told that the sweetness of the friend comes from his earnest counsel. That means the sweetness of his friend comes from his opinions and thoughts. There's lots of things about what it means to be friends and the encouragement that is. But we're also told to be careful about our friends. Some people want to have lots and lots of friends, but Proverbs 18 tells us a man of many companions may come to ruin, but there's a friend who sticks closer than a brother. 1 Corinthians chapter 15 says, "Do not be deceived. Bad company ruins good morals." Sometimes the friends that we choose can actually lower our own standards and our own ethics, and sometimes just really bring us down. We've got to be careful who we are friends with. And there's all sorts of verses. There's tons of them here, all about friends. We're told in Proverbs 16, "A dishonest man spreads strife, and a whisperer separates close friends." And we're told also how to treat our friends. Job chapter 6 says, "He who withholds kindness from a friend forsakes the fear of the Almighty." He who forsakes kindness from a friend forsakes the fear of the Almighty. That means that our actions not just judged by others, but God will also ask us for an account of the things that we do. But then we're told about what does it mean to have a friend spiritually, where we're told, "He who loves purity of heart and whose speech is gracious will have the king as his friend. That's the kind of people we want to be, who are pure, who are kind in their speech. These are the kinds of people that we want to be, and the kind of people that we want to have as our friends. And of course, my favourite verse during this season is James chapter 4, verse 8. Draw near to God, and he will draw near to you. Cleanse your hands, you sinners, and purify your heart, you double-minded. I like that verse. That part of it says, cleanse your hands, you sinners, or wash your hands, you sinners. But we're also told that in this time we can draw near to God, because we can't always see our friends unless you live with your friends, both the furry types here or the people that you live with at home. But we can still talk to our friends on our phones if we do it safely, and if we know what we're doing. Maybe mum or dad or friends at home can help us with that. That also goes for the adults too. For the adults, maybe it's your son or your daughter or your grandchildren that can help you with your technology. But also, we can have friendship with God. We're told if we draw near to God, God draws near to us. One of my favourite hymns, a Scottish paraphrase, says, if God our hearts we seek to know, we shall know him and rejoice. But ultimately today I want us to think about our choice of friends. Do we choose friends that build us up, or put us down, or slag us off? Are we careful about who we're speaking to, not just on the internet or on our phones or emails, but also in real life? Are we keeping the right kind of company? These are the things that we might want to think about when it comes to our friendship choices. This is a good time to think about what kind of people we are, what kind of people we want to be, what kind of people God wants us to be, and the people that we hang out with. May God bless you all as you think about the friendships we have with others, but also the friendship that we can have with God. Thank you.